Hi, this is Kirk, the bariatric carnivore. You've heard the phrase, it tastes like chicken? Well, chicken today doesn't taste like much of anything, so why would anybody say that? Well, it was actually coined by Columbus. And when his men came over to the New World and they were fed iguana by the natives, people asked, well, what does it taste like? Well, it tasted like chicken, at least back then. Because back then, when you raised a chicken, it would take a few months in order to get to the size where you could cook it, and it was only about 2.2 pounds. That was about the average. Then, sometime in the 1950s, they started playing around with chickens and created Franken chicken, which is now, today's chickens are ready for market in about 2 months. They eat the same amount of feed that they used to give them, and they weigh about 6 pounds. As a result, we've got this big chicken that is full of fat, particularly omega-6 fats, which are highly inflammatory if they're not in the right ratio of omega-3. And they don't taste like much of anything. I mean, back in the 1930s and 40s, when Julia Child wrote her first cookbook, she just talked about how chicken was this delicacy, and all it needed was a little bit of salt and pepper, and it had great flavor in and of itself. Well, that's not the case anymore. You know, now when you go over to Costco and you get a rotisserie chicken, you'll notice that, there's this whole host of ingredients on there. You can't even pick up chicken at the grocery aisle and get one that's not full of brine, etc., because they're trying to inject some sort of flavoring into it because it's just bland and fatty and not the same nutrition profile that it used to be. And that's what we're seeing with a lot of our other foods. I mean, I noticed a couple of weeks ago that we've seen this marked drop off in the amount of nutrients that are available in fruits and vegetables that we used to count on. So if you think that, vegetables are nutritious, realize that we've increased the amount of yields thanks to modern agriculture. But they're not increasing the nutrients that are in them, and they're decreasing the amount of flavor. Anybody that's had a tomato back, in the kid like me that grew up in the 60s and 70s, tomatoes used to have a very distinctive flavor. Now they kind of taste like cardboard. Or potatoes. They've increased the yield of potatoes rather dramatically, but they've decreased the amount of flavor in them. As a result, we need to add more flavorings to them in order to make them palatable. It used to be, you get a potato chip, it was fried in tallow, and you had salt. That was a potato chip. Now potato chips have to be covered in all sorts of different chemicals. Take a look at the different nutrition labels. I mean, a French fry at McDonald's used to be beef tallow, potato, and salt. That was it. Now there's almost 13 ingredients that make up your basic French fry because the quality of the potato has gone down so much, and they are frying them in these vegetable oils that are very different, and it's changing the flavor profile of a lot of stuff. And the nutrient quality is going down. So what does that mean to you and me? Well, look, you're not going to be able to save the whole world. I mean, it's nice that the Trump administration is actually starting to raise questions about all these artificial flavorings and ingredients that we're adding to our food to try to make them more hyper palatable, even though the nutrition in them is going downhill. But at the end of the day, it's up to you. I mean, you're going to have to start searching around to find heritage chickens and stuff like that. And keep in mind, I mean, chicken used to cost more than steak. It wasn't the cheap meat that we've got today, but it was certainly more flavorful and certainly a lot more nutritious than this stuff is today. Yes, it takes a little bit more money to find, and takes time to find people that are raising quality meats. But frankly, it is the best for your health because it's got more nutritional density to it, And we have a tendency to eat until our nutrients are fulfilled. This has been done through different experiments that, when you eat a really good quality piece of meat, you hit satiety much faster. So you don't eat as much, and that at least gives you a little bit of decrease in cost. But it does cost more. I wish there was better news for that, but frankly, in this fight for our health, we're all alone. But we can all be alone in this together. If you find some really good sources for heritage chicken, let me know. I mean, when I found my egg lady, and I could get eggs that were not store-bought, that was like nirvana. It was such a difference in egg quality versus what I was getting at the supermarket. And my cow guy, who just does this great job of raising cows the way they're supposed to be raised, and the flavor is so much better and the nutrients are so much better, and it doesn't take as much to make me full as it would if I was buying stuff from the regular grocery store. But at the end of the day, it's your choice. You've got to take a look at it. But, if you want to read a really good book on how our flavor profiles are being altered by major companies, I'm going to really suggest you to look at the book called The Dorito Effect, which takes a look at all the different flavorings that are being added to our stuff, and how it is affecting us and how it's affecting our health. And why you might want to start taking a second look at what you're eating and realizing that, there's a lot of Franken chemicals that are being added to our foods that are making it taste good, but not giving any more nutrition. Anyway, this is Kirk, the Bariatric Carnivore. I try to put out a couple messages each week. If you like this message, please hit the like and subscribe. Join this channel of other like-minded folks. I will talk to you again soon.